Hey everybody, and welcome back to our video series covering Singularity Container Services. In this video, we are picking up from where we left off in the previous videos, and we'll finally get to play with some containers, along with some other steps like signing up for a Singularity Container Services account, performing a remote build of a CIF container from a Docker source, publishing the resulting container to the Singularity Container Services library. If you missed any of the previous installments in this series, be sure to check the playlist to get caught up before moving on. First, let's get our account set up. Head on over to cloud.sylabs.io, where you will be greeted by a screen that looks like this. Click the Sign Up button, and then you can choose from the following options to create your account. We're going to use Google for our demonstration. After that, you'll be asked to choose a Sylabs username, which will identify you in the container library and other Singularity Container Services. Once you've done that, you'll be brought here to the account management page. Let's pause here for a second and go over everything that you're seeing. We're going to start with the menu on the left. The My Projects button will display whatever project you are currently working on in the center. Clicking on that project will show an overview of it. The Remote Builds button shows you your remote builds in action, or past builds and the associated definition files. The My Keys button is your public key created within the Singularity CLI and pushed to Singularity Container Services. The Access Tokens button is for allowing access to Singularity Container Services by way of the Singularity CLI. You can also find when other endpoints may be available. Last in this menu is the Quotas button. Moving over to the right of the page, you'll see the Official Base Images section. This is a list of curated open source CIF containers that are available to all Singularity Container Services registrations and will be accessible to pull via the command line. More on this later. Next, click on Alpine to bring up the repository artifacts. This will include the latest signed version of 3.15 for Power, Intel, and ARM architecture. Feel free to scroll through displays of older versions if you're interested, but we're going to head back to the dashboard to continue on with the demonstration for now. Once you're back at the dashboard, click the Access Tokens button on the left. This will give you the option to create a new access token. We are going to use SD Key 2 for this demo, but you can use whatever you would like. After clicking the green plus button, you'll be presented with the token in a copy-paste text box. From here, you can enter this into your favorite password manager, copy the displayed access token into a note, or download the token as a Sylabs token file. You can choose whichever works best for you in your workflow, but remember, once you move away from this screen, you will no longer be able to view the token, so be sure that you have this before moving forward. Now that we have our token, we'll move back to our WSL2 terminal. Check the Singularity client status of the endpoint. You should see Sylabs Cloud configured by default. You should also see that the Singularity client is logged out by default. We'll display the default Singularity Container Services endpoint, which indicates the client is configured to use the various services at cloud.sylabs.io. Let's log into those services. Take the content of the Sylabs token file that we generated and paste it into the Singularity remote login command prompt. After pressing enter, the token will be verified and you should receive a message like this one. Now we'll check the status of the services once again. You should see logged in now. Now that we're all set, we can move on to our first container build. For this demonstration, we are going to be using the Singularity Container Services remote build client. You can see on the screen that we have a previously created container that has used up 57 minutes of our build minute allocation, but your screen should be empty. Head over to the definition file editor. The Bootstrap section denotes the latest Alpine container from Docker Hub, and the From section points us to the container name with the latest version. All you need to do is put a name in the repository following the format described in the text box. We will then take this and put it into our container collection along with the container name of myalpine and a test tag. After clicking Submit, you can watch the container be built in the Build Output window. You'll see the build start by pulling blob sources from Docker Hub, writing the manifest, and storing internal signatures. Layers will be unpacked, and the %info detail from the recipe file will be included along with the labels. Then the CIF file will be created. Once the build completes, the container will be stored in the Singularity Container Services library. Since the container has not been signed, the container verification will be skipped for now. Once the build is completed, you should see a green success status indicator. Congrats, you just built your first container. Let's take a closer look at that container. It's identified as an AMD 64 architecture. It has the test tag that we added, the creation date, size, and unique identifier. There is also an indication that our container has yet to be signed, but we'll get to that a little bit later. For now, we're going to move on to creating the TensorFlow container needed to run the sample workload. Since we already have a definition file created, we simply need to copy and paste the content into the recipe editor. We will also take the source container from Docker and add in some label and help information. Then we take this, put it all into the container repository, and name it accordingly. This is a fairly sizable container coming in at just over 2.5 gigabytes, so we're going to speed through the build. Your build will not go this fast, so be patient as yours takes its time. Maybe you can use this time to sign up for the Sylabs newsletter or subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Now that our build is complete, let's take a look at the details. If you'd like, you can scroll through the logged output of the build and see all the steps that took place. When you click into the image, you'll see a lot of the same information as before: the architecture, creation date, and image size, among other things. If you click on the Pull Command button, you will get an example command that can be used to pull this container from the Singularity Container Services library with the Singularity CLI. So let's review everything we've done so far. We've signed up for a Singularity Container Services account, created access tokens for the Singularity CLI, and used the Singularity Container Services web interface to remote build a sample Alpine and GPU-enabled TensorFlow container. This is where we're going to stop for this part of the demonstration. Be sure to come back for part 4, where we will pick up where we left off on this video and sign the container that we just made, along with a few other things. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this, and feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions about what we've done in this video or any ideas about other content that you'd like to see from us. Thanks and have a great day!